one higher up on the, okay.
I'm
I was
recording now.
clicking on the one higher up that had the YouTube in it. Well, welcome to the December meeting of the Yarmouth Energy Committee. It's a shame we're not all together in person because, of course, we usually have good refreshments in December. But we can all get work done even without our refreshments and without each other's company, I guess. So do we have any members of the public to introduce? Amanda, you're town of Yarmouth. You know, you're one of us.
Joyce, excuse me, before we go on, I guess we have to make a motion to approve this as a Zoom meeting.
Okay, anybody want to make such a motion?
I think that's what we do, right?
Yes.
I think with the governor's thing now, we don't have to do that till April 1st, but better
Okay,
safe
then.
than sorry. How about somebody want to do a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thanks, Sandy. It doesn't look to me like we have members of the public. So we'll move to Madam Secretary and approval of the outstanding minutes.
I did not receive any notice that something was amiss, so I guess that everybody felt that they were okay.
Okay, I know I admired them.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Hey, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, it's unanimous. Amanda, would you like to give us any updates on town energy projects and especially on EV stations, which, as you know, is a bit of a passion for us?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, to start off, just wanted to appreciate all the patience that you guys have had. Unfortunately, we're down one employee, and when you're a team of two, it makes it very hard to be getting out all the projects that we get done. And I have appreciated the help that I've gotten from Kyle and Roby and Robert, and kind of filled the void and trying to keep you guys as abreast of information as much as possible. So I just kind of wanted to start with that. Again, we're trying to, keep everything moving forward. One of the, as you mentioned, the charging units at Town Hall had failed. So we just got that one delivered within the last couple of weeks to be installed. And the other ones should be active. We're still working through the whole Wi-Fi cell phone modem from before my maternity leave. And then I don't know if I had shared the schedule for the PV installation for that parcel E near Septage.
Oh, no, you haven't. We'd be delighted to know.
Awesome. So this one hopefully is the most up to date. So they're planning on mobilizing, given they get all their permits for building and electrical and their interconnection for February of this upcoming year. And then they would have final completion for the PV in August of 22. So it looks like 6-month construction period.
Okay, and so are you estimating August as connection date? Or just completion of construction?
I believe it's just the construction completion. It
Oh,
says
okay.
June they were looking for permission to operate placed in service. So yeah, I'd have to receive clarification on that.
Yeah, I think put in service would mean that it would be connected then, but keep us posted on that. And if there is an actual connection that day, by then it'll be sunny weather. What the heck, we could meet outdoors and have a bit of an event to watch it go on. I'm also hoping the pandemic will be over, but I've given up on prognosticating.
Yeah, yes. And then the last update was I had seen an email recently about the round 6 of the CVAC being funded for the fire station in the DPW building.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Hey, that's good news, Amanda. Thank you very much for your help. And happy holidays.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the Cape Light Compact update. Thank you to all of you who sent letters in for the DPU proceeding 21-126. What happened that occasioned that procedure was that the Cape Light Compact submitted its 3-year plan, and the DPU immediately grabbed all the stuff that was subsidizing moderate and lower income taxpayers and threw it out, and then suggested that it would have too large a ratepayer impact and would hurt moderate and lower income people. The programs that were in there were meant to kind of equalize that, since everybody pays the renewable energy and energy conservation charges on their electric bill. But it does seem that the benefits of the renewables don't necessarily extend over all economic classes. In connection with that, we had a deadline last week for comments at meetings, and then a Friday deadline for a week before last Friday, sorry, a deadline for comments. And so all of those are now in, and it's great, those of you who wrote in. The DPU proceedings 2040, which must seem a little confusing because that looks like we're starting, 2020 all over again. That's a holdover from the previous fight with the DPU about the previous 3-year plan. And there was motion back and forth on that, but it does now seem that for the CVEO project, the pilot project in strategic electrification, that a fight is going to have to be waged, and that that may actually help the uphill battle that is the battle in DPU 21-126. Essentially, it's the same larger issue, and what came out of the 2040 that we're appealing was the turn down of the program that would have given no-cost solar, battery storage, and heat pumps, the solar being no cost, to 700 people, and then it got down to 400 people as a pilot program. And they all would have been among the people who wouldn't be absolute low income because they could be otherwise taken care of, but would be low to moderate income. And that's just not happening with the DPUs. We're currently waging that campaign on 2 fronts. And that's all we have going on with the Cape Light Compact. We meet tomorrow 2 to 4:30 in the magic room that is Zoom. Feel free to join us. And then our next meeting after that will be in January.
Joyce, is Austin Brandt still with you?
Huh?
Is Austin Brandt?
No, Austin has been replaced because he ran away to Duke to do a joint MPA MBA program. So he'll be running an entire state probably by the time we next hear of him. Mike, you can tell Bob a little bit more about his replacement than I do, because I know all you Tufts folks know each other and you've talked to her.
Well, I haven't really talked with her, but her mother is on my Cape Cod Tufts Club alumni board, and she's married, and but she maintains her maiden name, so her last name is the same. Marchand Muriel, I believe, is her first name, and I know she lives on the Cape, so she was very happy to get that job with Cape Light Compact. She had an environmental type job before that, but I don't remember exactly with whom or what it was. But anyway, she's been at all the meetings, and I guess she'll be doing a good job. We expect all of our Tufts alumni to be doing good jobs. So.
Yeah, high standards at the Compact. Okay, so for information then about the the CUMPEX 3-year plan. It will probably come out in dregs. But the last part anybody will know about will be the special subsidized renewable stuff, because that's being fought. But we do know, and with the Solarize Committee, we've let Wayne know that heat pump incentives are going to be going up in January. So that's a good thing for people to know. And speaking of Solarize, Mike, do you want to let us know what's up with Solarize these days?
Sure. First thing I'd like to review is the status of our leads. And we have 169 leads for the solar, 37 signed contracts. And the current Google Drive says 6 systems installed. We know of Jim, Chris, and Ed, those 3. But as I look at it, David Maki, M-A-K-I, at Marston Mills, see an town employee that got his installed already? Anybody know him? Joyce? No, Tara, I see Tara's on now. Tara, do you know on David Maki?
I do not.
I was just adjusting my
I'm
headphones.
not familiar with that name.
Okay,
No.
so I don't know why he shows up on our Google Drive as having one. And I think he was installed back in October, it said. I don't have the date. We also
his
have
name, Mike?
Mary Johnson, 30 Wild Rose Terrace. I wasn't aware that her system was installed. Somebody knows of her, or at least knows where Wild Rose Terrace is. Bob, did you know where that was? Was that near you or something?
No, it sounds familiar, but my sieve of a brain these days is forgetting a lot of the geography of Yarmouth, since I didn't learn it when I was 12 years old.
All right.
Mike,
We
what
also
was the
have a
name you
Patricia
didn't
Smith,
recognize?
Pat Smith, 21 Winter Street. I guess a neighbor of Ed's, but she shows as being installed. And with all these installations, I'm wondering what's happening with Sandra,
Who's Sandy?
who was one of the first, what were you, the second sign up? Yeah. And so I don't know, next time we get together with the Solar Wolf folks, I'll have to find out what's going on with these other 3.
So Sandy, you don't have any reschedule after that weather thing, huh?
I got 2 emails back that said that when they spoke to the scheduler, they get back to me. And I am getting a little upset because it's going to be snowmobile season. And
Bring,
I'm now going to have to stay here when Eversource comes to hook up. They're just putting a real inconvenience on me right now.
bring your kitchen knife on Thursday.
Attendance for the pizza.
Yes.
Sandy, remember,
Okay.
I don't live that far from you. So really, if I can help on that by being there on a day that you can't make it, if that gets your system installed, I'd love to do it.
Well, the thing is, when Eversource comes, I really want to be here. My daughter can help me with when Solar Wolf is here. But they came and, they stayed out in the truck for 40 minutes and never bothered to come in because they were looking at the radar, waiting for it to rain. So,
Okay, all right, moving on to Eversource heat pumps. We have 25 leads there, 4 signed contracts, and 3 systems installed, according to the Google Drive. Once again, I don't know that I see anything on the lead sheet for you, Sandra. I don't know why everybody's ignoring you. But what did you do to them?
might be my name, I don't know.
Okay. But, okay, moving on. Water marketing activity, water bills. One of the 3 mailings has gone out. And I did get an email from Taylor Bennett at Solar Wolf saying that she got 6 leads that were presumably from the water bill contacts, since they just occurred and they were all down in the West Yarmouth area, none from, certainly none from Yarmouthport. So since it kind of happened right after the water bill seemed to go out, and people started looking at them, the speculation is maybe that they're coming from that, in which case that's probably a good sign. Meet the installers number 3, scheduled for Thursday, December 9th at the Senior Center, beginning at 6:30 p.m. There will be a Cape Cod 5 rep there to talk about their solar loan program. There'll also be Cape Light Compact rep there to talk about energy efficiency and rebates, I guess, and all that sort of stuff that they did last time. Tomorrow morning, we'll have a meeting with the volunteers to go over any loose ends. There have been, I think, a 3-page list of FAQs has been prepared for handouts, which Joyce is going to get printed over at the town hall, I believe, as well as an event flyer that has been prepared for handouts. And last night, I sent out approximately 230 invitations to the December 9th meeting. And that was, I think everybody on this call was on the list, of course. That did anybody on this call not get it or not be able to read it and not be able to click on the link that would take you to the Jim Wolf video? Good. So I guess everybody did get it, could read it, and could click on the link.
Mike, one question on that. I was able to get to the link. I was able to watch the video. The flyer was actually very nicely done, by the way. And I was able to click on the link, but to be honest with you, I don't remember if I clicked on the link that was in the actual email, because there was another link. There were two
Yeah.
links. And I know I had to watch a video of a couple that had the solar.
Okay, so you should have,
and it was brief, and it was very well done.
you should have clicked on the link that said click here on the first line
It
of
was
the
in-
email, because the other one was in a PDF
Embedded in the
and
actual email.
you can't click on it. At least I can't.
Okay.
I did look on something. I think it is possible if you have some expert PDF package, which I don't have and was not going to get. So it might be possible, but it was not possible on that one last night. So if you click on that,
So it was two different videos.
This is in addition to
No.
the one you sent to me directly, because that's the only one I find on my list. On my,
I think I sent you over the weekend, maybe, the other, a one-page flyer that I was hoping you would be able to put on Facebook and Nextdoor or whichever social media.
yeah,
things
that's the one I got, but I don't see the other one
from last night.
from last night. I'm going to go to my Comcast address and see if it's there.
Now,
You
Mike,
guys
You could also check your spam, because I put my name, these went out in batches of like 25 email addresses per email in the BCC portion of the email. And I stuck my name at the end of each one just to make sure it went through. And for some unbeknownst reason to me, about half of them showed up in my spam file. The other half, I actually got the email. So, and the only different would have been email addresses. So I don't know if some email addresses are kicking things into spam, I think. I don't know.
now, Mike,
Anybody have?
And that seems to be a problem with town addresses especially, as if you have really strong security there.
how I would always take care of that is I put as many email addresses, but I do them under blind copy. So I would do on the main one, my address, on the CC, my address, and then the rest all in blind copies, and they usually go right through.
There it is. It's on my spam list.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But did everybody's flyer say draft? I thought mine was a draft and it was just a test.
Yes, it's a draft.
Mine said draft.
It did? Where did it
Yes.
say
Yeah.
draft?
It says
Would it-
draft update email for review.
Draft email update for review. I don't know how that got there.
So I wasn't sure that that was the one that was going out. And then its stuff was highlighted in yellow, so I thought it was for people to work on, but I did get it.
Okay, so in light of all of this, just to bring folks up to date, Liz had been talking with, well, first of all, let me back up and say that the proposal that we got from, what's their name? CMP Business Media, they withdrew their social media proposal to the Solarize Plus Yarmouth program. Not exactly sure why. I left him a voicemail saying that we had met, the volunteers had met, and we wanted to go forward with his email, with his proposal. And I left him a voicemail, asked him to call me back so we could figure out on how to get started. In the interim, Jim was talking to him about something. Jim told me to hold off on waiting for a call from him till after he talked with him. And then the next thing I know, they say they're not going through with it. So I don't know what the problem was. I could
think
speculate,
Mike,
but I won't.
I think I do know. Dale came back and said that when he talked with his staff and they realized that heat pumps were part of this, which they hadn't initially realized, they have a heat pump client somewhere on the Cape, and it was a professional conflict of interest that they felt. And Jim had gone back to them to ask if they could figure out a way to get either the client to waive it or, somehow work around it. And Dale told us that he was he couldn't get around it.
All right. Okay, so anyway, it's done deal, although now Liz talked with the guy, Bert Jackson, who she knows. You may know him,
Oh,
Barry.
sure. Cape Cod Technology Council.
Yeah. And so she wanted me to get in touch with him and talk to him. I talked with him this afternoon, and he may submit a more reasonable to me, meaning about half the price, social media proposal, which we can discuss at tomorrow's volunteer meeting to see if we want to go ahead with that. But the one thing I did mention to him, the problems that I was having last night by sending out these bulk email lists and everything. And he mentioned things like, what is it, MailChimp as something, a free service that we might want to use to do that. Anybody here, you ever use it?
I have.
Yeah. What do you think about it? You use the free version?
Yes, we do. I use it for my mass facilities group. And it works very well for us.
Okay, so maybe we might want to be doing that. Anyway, I digress from what we need to talk about here. Just going back to the Meet the Installer 3, we're going to talk about all the loose ends on that tomorrow. But I said there's a number of handouts. Joyce, you have those handouts?
I do.
In line, and you're going to be ordering pizza. I've got the soft drinks and water that'll be necessary. Now, who knows? I mean, if 230 or 40 emails got out, and let's say even if 200 of them didn't, got into their regular inbox instead of the spam, maybe we'll be overwhelmed. although it's
Yeah,
going to be
because
cold
that's on top
Thursday.
of the water bills.
Well,
Yeah,
So
but the
we'll
water
see.
bills don't have the, meet the installers event, information.
Okay, that's all I have.
Well,
to re-
that's true. Yeah.
That's all I have to report on Solarize.
Okay, can I just add one thing, Mike, which is for anybody here who isn't like really plugged into Solarize, probably should be aware that there's a real lag between contacting SolarWolf and contracting with SolarWolf and the actual installations, and that's especially true with the batteries. Very disappointing.
Yeah, we'll go into that in more detail tomorrow. It's not a topic, I guess, for Energy Committee.
Okay, so if anyone has questions for Mike, if you don't, we'll move on, but any burning questions? Nope.
I don't have
Okay.
any questions. Not really. I was told today, and I haven't seen it in my last electric bill, and I didn't know if any of you had received your bill from Eversource. And there was a note in there stating that as of January 1st, the rates were going up 25% for all their customers.
Oh,
25.
the electric rates, yes,
I
Yeah.
got that as an
25.
email.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe this will
So,
help
and
you
unfortunately-
convince your hubby for solar.
Oh, God. Well, it's not just the hubby, unfortunately. There's a trust issue too, an actual trust, like a irrevocable trust that's in place as well. So it's a little more complicated than that. And on Thursday night, I know because I look at the rates, and especially after watching that couple last night, I was just like, oh, and hearing today about Ever's going up to 25%, and it's just, it's like, oh, it just kills me. It just, because I think this would be a good spot for it, but it's not, unfortunately, up to me. So
Is this the
painful.
Eversource base rate, or is it the Cape Light compact rate?
It was just see Eversource. So Eversource Electric, I don't.
Yeah, Eversource is everybody's distribution company. And then the power supply stuff is also going to go up.
So distribution, let's say delivery is going up as well as the production. Why would that be?
It depends on whether we're talking about a bill that was Eversource as basic service. Do you know if it was, or was it for the price for the purchase of the power, the page one stuff, or the stuff that's further into the bill for distribution, Tara?
I didn't read it. I didn't see it. So I'm just giving you what I got word of mouth. I'm kind of anxiously waiting for my next electric bill so I can rifle through it.
Sandra, did you say-
Eversource has announced it, and the compact rates are going to go up. We don't yet know how much.
Sandra, did you say you got an
Okay.
email from
Sandy,
Eversource?
Yes, I'm gonna look for it right now.
Maybe she can read that to us. Yeah, that's a good point.
If anybody actually got it in their bill or an email, and if you got an email, forward it to me if you don't mind. If you got it in your bill and you're going to be at the December 9th meeting, bring it to that. That would be a good thing to stand up there and wave in front of the prospective
I
customers.
think that would be helpful. I agree. That's why I thought I'd bring it up, just in case you could kind of use it for incentive for people.
Right.
Unfortunately, I have my Barnstable County Assessing Association annual meeting that night, so I won't be able to attend. I have to be in Dennis. It's our first live meeting in a long time. So
We could save you pizza.
I never say no to pizza.
Okay, well, if there are no other comments or questions about Solarize, Let's move on to the next agenda item, which is the 5:15 discussion of the two bylaws, the electric vehicle procurement and the net zero design procurement, and possible selection of an energy committee member to work with town staff on those. Barry, do you want to give a little history of those?
Sure, quickly. In the fall of 2020, we filed 2 petition articles with like about 170 signatures on each. They needed 100. One, and this was the same time that we filed the resolution supporting the Solarize campaign. The other 2 articles were to enact bylaws. One was to require the town, whenever it buys a new vehicle, to choose an electric vehicle if one was available and reasonably priced that could perform the same function. The other was whenever the town starts a new building project, in the first bidding for design contracts, that the design contract require an evaluation of a net zero energy design for the project. We delayed those articles from that fall town meeting because of the pandemic, as I recall. And then they were scheduled to come up at the following spring town meeting, right after Bob Rittenauer came in as town administrator. And he requested, indirectly, basically told the Board of Selectmen that he hoped that the meeting wouldn't act on them because he and the town staff hadn't really had a time to even think about them. And he wanted a chance to bring the town staff in to weigh in on the proposals. And we decided to basically agree to a postponement and take the time to work with Rittenauer and town staff to basically see if we could reach agreement about what would be enacted. And he wrote back, very appreciatively, and that he really wanted to get to a solution on this and to work with us. And kind of that's where it sits. I did reach out to him at some point before the next town meeting to propose that we figure out a time to talk, but we have, I didn't chase him because, again, of the pandemic issues. And they are, I assume, still pending action because they've been postponed but not voted on. So where are we? So I assume they'd be in order to bring up at the spring town meeting, but I haven't followed up to figure out whether the town agrees that they're still ripe for consideration. And the Energy Committee voted unanimously to endorse both proposals before the last town meeting at which they were they were ripe for consideration. So what do we do?
Well, when is the next town meeting, in April or May?
I assume in May of 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when does discussion of the articles going on to the warrant take place?
January into February.
So we've got to start doing it at that time, or I mean.
And
not
I'm
sure.
wondering if we have somebody who wants to be a point person for that, or to work with different town departments under a somewhat tight budget following the holidays. I mean, tight time budget, or whether we want to maybe gather a lot of information, particularly on the vehicle thing, and then some on the net zero building thing, make 2 big folders of information and present those for sharing with town staff.
I mean, Joyce, have you gotten to know Rittenhour at all? Like,
Yes, yeah,
because I'm thinking that the easiest first next step would be for somebody, I would think maybe you, to just reach out to him and remind him that these are in the queue, and ask him what he'd like to do next, because I'm assuming he would still like to talk about them. But I've never met the guy or seen him.
well, you've been in touch by email. Here's the thing, I don't want to get in touch with him until we know what we want to do about this, because I felt sort of we absented ourselves after saying that we'd work with him. So, I mean, I would rather have them postponed till fall town meeting with the preparation able to be done and the working with town staff in person than have them just go up and have town staff members who haven't been slowly cultivated on why this would be a good idea. The
No, I
police
agree.
chief.
I agree. We need to talk to them before
Yeah.
it comes up at town meeting, and
But with all different departments too. Police right at the top of them. Because the police made the biggest squawk.
So did you actually hear that I didn't even know it had come up amongst town staff. So there was a discussion.
Oh, back before the last town meeting, yes. And so Rittenhour arrived and immediately was hearing that you can't get police cars that do that and that sort of thing. So, I mean, and they were there in his ear before town meeting, which is fine, because we want people to fully understand. We don't want them just to agree and then ignore it, or agree and not do it well. So I think we need to present them with a lot of equipment options if we're going to actively go into this in early 2022.
Right. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the smoothest way to get to the discussion.
Does anyone have any idea of what the next major construction project by the town is going to be?
That's a good point, Bob, because there isn't going to be one for a little while. I mean, they were rushing to get the DPW in, and they obviously have stuff going on with the wastewater, but it's not the same as building up a brand new town building. So, I mean, if we felt we didn't have the time for both, we could have the net zero building postponed and concentrate on the electric vehicle if the group decided to do that. I confess I'm kind of at a loss which way to proceed, because we really, unless we're going to really put time into this, we absolutely can't get into this.
Yeah, well, I mean, we obviously missed the chance with the DPW building itself, although Amanda is telling us, now that there'll be a CVEC project in round 6 to make up for that loss, but it won't be complete, because if the solar had been an integral part of the construction, it would have been a town-owned system and not a PPA. And so would have saved the town a lot more money on its electric bills.
Yeah, and also solar is not the only aspect of net zero design. I drive by
Sure.
time crossing the dog park, and my sense is just looking at it that efficient energy use was not a priority in the design.
Yeah.
Can I ask, would the new school be able to be part of this or we're not, because we haven't included ourselves in the green community. Because we're going for net zero. I don't exactly know where we are with the lead part. But the school is definitely geared for it.
That
Yeah,
would be a shining example of what town buildings should do then.
And then the other thing is, and this is under review, that we're thinking about renovating the administration office with all of that in place also.
I mean, I'm not sure, but my guess is that a town bylaw wouldn't be binding on the school district because
Oh,
it's,
no, it wouldn't, no.
it's a
but
separate government.
But it would be nice to think that we had a demonstration of a new building that the town could look at for future stuff. But again, as Bob pointed out, future stuff for the building is a little bit down the road. So we do have some time on that one.
Is,
I mean,
is a library in the offing?
Well, that kind of depends. Among other things, it depends. 2 seats on the Board of Selectmen are up next time, and a candidate who's running for the open seat, which Tracy is resigning, is somebody who's very strong on the village identities. So he wants all 3 villages to retain their libraries rather than build a new one. So who knows where the politics of that will go? Obviously, the science of information sharing suggests that a new building would be the way to go, but who knows?
Yeah.
Yarmouth turned it down the other time.
I mean, bluntly, I assume it's on me to have to, to work with the Rittenhour and staff on the content of these proposals. I'm just thinking that since it's been dormant for so long, that somebody who knows him approaching him would be the more diplomatic way to, get
And
back
then-
to dialogue.
And then if I got in touch with him and said that you would be in touch.
Yeah, so assuming that's, but kind of, I assume you'd be asking him, how does he want to proceed? And I assume he'll want to set up a meeting, but.
Are any of
And you'd
the,
be okay with a Zoom meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
are any of the purveyors of police cruisers marketing in an EV? I mean, certainly got to be a certain amount of demand around the nation to have some of our specialized vehicles that municipal governments use be electric vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, I think for real cruisers, most departments that are buying them are buying hybrids rather than all battery, solar battery. I know Chatham's begun to do that, but
Well, and that will make it easier to sell in Yarmouth if another town has already done it. It will be less scary.
yeah. I mean, Chatham actually already enacted this bylaw.
Mhm.
Both of them. And,
Are we as a committee happy to have Barry the designated person? I mean, I would go ahead and say, look, it's Barry. How would you like to work with this? Barry will represent people who are interested in energy and interested in helping department staff get the info they need. If that sounds like a fair statement of what you're willing to do, Barry, let me just check. Yes?
yes.
Yes, okay. Then shall we consider that Barry will be our ambassador on EVs and net zeros?
Okay.
Do we make a motion?
Sure.
Not only should we consider, we should demand.
Right,
Oh,
frankly,
I was-
I'd be
I was-
perfectly happy to pass this off. I'm just assuming that
I was thinking plead in a heartfelt manner myself, but
Oh,
Okay, Sandy's made a motion to put Barry in charge of discussion with town staff about the two the two proposed articles. I think we have unbylawed them, haven't we?
No, those articles are bylaws. in
They're still
form.
bylaws.
They're-
Okay.
They are meant to be, binding on the town.
Okay.
And didn't Sandy put those out, the verbiage for them on the town website?
Well, they were in the
They're in
warrant.
the town meeting warrant. And the
They
most
qualified
recent,
for the warrant back in the fall of 2020. But with all of the other non-vital, non-critical articles, they got postponed because of trying to keep the town meeting short because of the pandemic.
so does Sandy's motion have a second?
Second,
Yeah, second.
Okay, all those in favor of having Barry be our liaison with town staff on the two bylaw articles for next town meeting, signify by saying aye.
aye,
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions?
unanimous.
Barry, you are appointed, and we are delighted that you're willing to do this. And we think you're actually a very good person to do it, since you compose these and understand them better than all of us.
And
Harry,
just
could you
for
send
the-
us just an email with the two proposed bylaws by themselves, mine?
Sure.
I've obviously had them somewhere lost in the,
Yeah, I will do that forthwith. And just for your information, at a retreat on Saturday, the executive committee of the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative decided that we are going to try to promote these in all 15 towns. Well, Chatham's already passed them, but the next year it'll be a priority to move them Cape-wide. So it'll be on the agenda in multiple towns.
Okay. So any further thoughts on that, or shall we move on? You're a quiet group today, guys. Okay, well, let's move on then. The next article is the committee name discussion, and also the question about whether energy committee members whose terms are up this December are willing to be renewed.
Who's up? Who's up this December?
Let's see, the people, I've already come up for renewal after taking the 1-year thing. So that at this point, it would be the people who had the 2-year appointments. If you want to be discussing the name change thing, I'll get off my headphones and grab the town annual report. As it happens, my husband saves them all in hard copy, but I just have to run to the living room to get it, okay? Why don't you be thinking about the name change? And Barry, maybe you could explain how that
sure.
ended up on our agenda, okay?
As I, for unrelated reasons, was looking at the energy committees in all of the other towns, realized that there are a number of them, a number of towns in which they've retitled the energy committee as the Energy and Climate Committee. At least in Truro, they've now got both. They've got an energy committee and a climate action committee, but I know in Chatham, they just decided to retitle themselves the Energy and Climate Action Committee. And it felt like substantively, over the past year, particularly with Mike's operating plan, we've functionally become the Energy and Climate Committee, because we are addressing greenhouse gas emissions globally. And seems, so my instinct is it would be a good thing for the town to, acknowledge that and, officially have designated somebody to think about climate.
Barry, do all those other towns, does it say energy and climate, blah, blah, blah? Or do some of them say energy and environment?
I don't think anybody's used the word environment. I think where they've changed it, it's Energy and Climate Action Committee.
Okay. But, I mean, if we were to change our name to that, how much does that broaden our scope? And do we have the resources to address it?
It feels like it's the other way around. We've already broadened our scope. I mean, the operating plan commits us to, a 5-year strategy to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across the board in the whole community. So it's sort of acknowledging what we've actually done.
But I think
the question of resources is still fair as to whether we can execute on it, but
personally, I think that flying under the radar is the best way to go in Yarmouth. That we should be doing these things, but not necessarily changing the name. I mean, that name change would, will raise those kinds of hackles that I think I've talked about in earlier meetings before the pandemic, about not wanting to, goad sleeping dogs, and just keep doing those things, but not necessarily put it into our title. No reaction to my.
I'm back and I'm going in on my phone to the town website because the town report didn't have the expiry years like it used to.
I mean,
Well, I think there's a certain point to being subtle. I mean, I think recent events have shown sometimes it's good to be extremely discreet for effectiveness. Anybody have feelings about that one way or the other? What Bob just said? I missed what Barry said because I was getting the town report.
So I just wanted to share, this is really a nothing story. It was a conversation I had yesterday with somebody, and it was with regard to, the temperature, like, wow, when did it ever get up to almost 60 degrees in December? And the person I was having that conversation with kind of sarcastically laughed and said, oh, well, that's global warming, or so we're being told. So I think my feeling, just based on personal experience, I'm not giving advice one way or another, but I did want to just kind of share this. Some of the conversations that I've had with numerous different people from different places, not so much even within the town, just outside that scope as well. The climate action, it's very passionate, both sides. So people that aren't for it feel very strongly against it, and people that are feel very strongly for. And I'm really not sure where Yarmouth falls into that. So I personally, I'm appreciative of Bob's comments. And Joyce as well, subtlety. Those are just my own personal feelings, just speaking strictly as a resident.
checking back in, the member list on the town no longer gives the years either of expiration. So Steve was keeping record of all that, of course, because remember a while ago, we wrote that into the vice chairman's report. His wife, Anne Marie, let me go through his stuff, like the stuff that was Energy Committee, but I didn't see anything like that. I'm gonna have to check with Pam Barnes and the town records, even though they usually have to check with us, so go figure.
I was trying to see if I could find my appointment, which was, relatively recent, to see if it said.
I thought we had gotten an email from Dan Hogan or whatever.
He's not doing them anymore because he's not the freshman.
Yeah, that I was going to say.
It's Peter Smith now who does them.
But I think that we might have gotten a email or something with Dan Hogan with pretty much the
Back
latest.
when we got it all cleared up. You're right. You're right. Any other thoughts on the name issue?
Well, I'll say something picking up on what Tara said. I mean, Energy Committee would be hard for anybody to find fault with the fact that everybody needs energy, everybody uses energy. And the two basic things we're focusing on, I think, are energy efficiency and renewable energy. And we can always tie those to, hey, this is going to save you money. But as soon as you start talking about climate change and the fact that it's good for that, as I think Tara kind of brought up, you're going to have dissenters. And we'll be in the middle of controversy. I hate controversy. So I guess I'd be in favor of just maintaining Energy Committee and let us do our thing without ruffling a lot of feathers around town by saying we're gonna impose all this stuff on you so that we can fix the climate change problem.
And it is a real problem that people have a crazy knee-jerk reaction to the two words climate change, and yet they don't have a real reaction to the actual danger of climate change. On the other hand, we have traditionally been a Republican town, which we're now, in the process of becoming purple blue, maybe. So I think we do need to be aware not to set people off if we're trying to get them on board. Sandy, do you have any opinions?
I agree with everybody that we should stay Energy Committee and stay below the radar, because there is that whole atmosphere of people that are doing the climate control are out, I don't want to say out there, but it just they just have that bad vibe. Even talking like in my office, when that comes up, everybody rolls their eyes. And but when it's the energy, we can still work on that underneath, and we are working on all of that and still do it without having that as part of the name change. So I agree with everyone else not changing the name.
Now, I think, we want to be clear that is our mission, because we are trying to heal the world and we're trying to get people smarter about energy. So don't feel if we don't change the name that we're not on that mission. We are. But it sounds like most of you are leaning toward keeping Energy Committee as is as a name.
Yes.
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 Barry, how are you with that?
Well,
Do
no,
you think we can?
that's clearly the consensus.
Okay, and you're okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a vital issue.
I mean, certainly if we do our job well in terms of energy efficiency and renewable energy, the climate change will benefit from it.
So it's a challenge to do our job well.
Just another one, yes.
I mean, these two articles that we're, two bylaws that we're proposing are perfect examples of that. I mean, what other purposes there in these things than to affect the global warming in a negative fashion? For Yarmouth to do its little part in that effort.
Well, there's a cost impact of that, isn't there, Barry? As a matter of fact, if it shows that doing either one of those, building a net zero design to a net zero design is a lot more expensive than not, then they can escape it, right?
Right, and the premise of both of these is that over the lifetime of the vehicle, over the lifetime of the building, the energy efficient design is actually going to save money.
Right.
But the upfront cost, price tag may be higher, but they are about saving money.
Okay, then it looks like I'm going to have to dig in to the old Board of Selectmen minutes. I know that Barry's term ends in December 2023. And when they scattered the terms, Steve Gavin and I took the 1-year terms as opposed to the 2-year and 3-year, and we did get reappointed. So myself, and of course it would have been Steve, would also be 2023. Marilyn, I think that you are up in 2022, and I think it might be Bob who's with you on that, but I'll check, okay?
Does that mean we can escape?
No,
No.
and I
We know
thought we
where
had
you,
this.
we know where you live, you two. And anyway, you live in the Old Kings Highway District. We need your votes always. Okay,
Just
so I'll check
for,
on that, and then I'll converse with you separately to make sure
Okay,
that of your wishes before I do anything.
just to seal the thing that came up at the beginning, Sandy just shared the email from Eversource, and it's pretty clear. It says that it is the supply charge on the Eversource bill for customers who use Eversource as their power supplier that's going up 25% in January. Although I assume that for the same reasons, the compacts rates are going to have to go up because the
Let's hope the
power is going
compact
up.
goes up by 24.9%, so we can say we beat basic rate at Eversource. Listen, I have got to run because I'm supposed to announce our Thursday, December 9th thing at public comment at Board of Selectmen, but I just call your attention to our future agenda items. Our town annual report for our committee is due in January. So I thought I'd do a draft, send it all to you by the end of December, and then we could discuss it, for a big chunk of the January meeting. And then I want to circle back to the tree planting EV station stuff in February. That'll give them time to get the EV stations a little bit more in line. And me and Marilyn, if she's willing to continue on this, she volunteered earlier and we had one meeting to dig into the information about trees and tree donations, and for example, how Friends of Trees in Chatham is doing that, which was a suggestion from Roby. So does anybody have any comments for future agenda items or other comments?
Are you going to the Board of Selectmen in person?
Exact. That's what I'm trying to do. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So if we don't have more comments, then I'll see all of you in the near future, of course, either talking to you about renewables or seeing you at Solarized meetings, and hopefully everybody can come for free pizza and good energy information Thursday night. But except for you, Tara, I'm sorry. But anyway, have a good few weeks if I don't see you before January 4th, but I suspect I will be seeing all of you. Wish me luck at Board of Selectmen. May I convert them all to come, and may they all put, Dan Horgan has already done it, solar on their houses. Okay,
We adjourn.
motion to adjourn,
Motion.
Moved.
seconded,
Seconded.
See you on TV, Joyce. I watched.
all in favor?
the
Aye.
meeting.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
bye.
Aye.